Well, President Ramaphosa is expected to address delegates at the Coctus Summit this morning. It's a bleak picture, though, I'm afraid, being painted about local government. This two-day summit is aiming to conclude with an action plan to enable well-running and fully functioning municipalities. Moloko Moloto is our eNCA reporter on the story for us out at the Birchwood Conference Centre. Hello to you, Moloko. And some are saying you can have all the talk shops in the world. The problems are at the grassroots level for our municipalities. What have you been hearing? What are people saying?
Good morning, Gareth. Day two of this two-day summit that has brought together the leaders from all the 275 municipalities across the country, but also senior officials from those municipalities. We are told that this is the first summit since 2014, and you would recall it's happening just after these new councillors were elected in November last year. Many of them would be new in this sphere of local government. Now, we heard yesterday the Minister of COCTA, Dr. Nkosazana Dlamini-Zuma, who is the host of this particular summit, reminding the delegates in here about their constitutional mandate and obligations to provide services to the communities which they lead, but also to create a conducive environment for opportunities, either economically but also job opportunities as well, to avoid a situation wherein people would be flocking from the countryside in the main going to the big metros, where she's saying oftentimes they go there to join a queue of the so-called urban poor. But we also heard from the Auditor General, Tsakani Maluleke, who really painted a picture that is not so rosy, the state of local government in South Africa. She's saying in the past 5 years it actually has regressed. But she also lamented the fact that despite her efforts, or the efforts of her office, to assist, especially when it comes to financial management in municipalities, still there is no headway in that regard. This is despite the fact that municipalities have officials who ought to be responsible for, for instance, preparing the credible financial statements. She's saying they also spent about 1.6 billion rand in the previous financial year. Yet 75% of those municipalities still could not produce credible financial statements. We also heard from the Minister of Finance, Enoch Dongwana, who was just talking about the fact that the budget cuts of government departments, be it at national or even at the provincial level and even in municipalities, have been cut, and indicating that about 294 billion rand, Gareth, has actually been spent towards the state-owned entities just between 2019 and this year. This happening at a time when municipalities are really having to make do with less. But also he said that some of the municipalities would actually want more money, even when they don't have plans on how they are going to spend that money. And as a result, in some instances, such money tend to be taken back to the fiscus. Day two, as I said, we are expecting the President of the Republic to open this session, Cyril Ramaphosa, and according to the program, there's going to be a session wherein there would be an interaction, presumably with some of the delegates here. And later on, we obviously are expecting the continuation. They will have to report to plenary about discussions that they have had. Yesterday, you would recall, there were about 3 commissions which members of the media were not allowed to be part of. Among issues that they discussed there, Gareth, include the issue of corruption in municipality, but also the issue of how to optimize the speed of provision of services. They also had to talk about the issue of coalition. We heard from Premier of Gauteng, David Makura, talking about the frustrations that they have to deal with at the provincial level in Gauteng as they deal with coalition governments at the local government level or in municipalities, saying that even if you plan with the incumbent government at the local municipality, when there's a change of leadership, you now have to deal with people who now want to implement their new plans, and as a result, that tends to delay development. Gareth?
Yeah, it certainly does delay developments as well, and what I think we all need to keep an ear out for as well after this is how we unpack the political element of local government as well. The ANC heading into their elective conference later this year, and then 2024 national elections as well. If they don't get it right at a local government level, what's the impact going to be for government come 2024? I appreciate the time, as always, from eNCA reporter Moloko Moloto. We're expecting the president to open what is day 2 of the summit, and we'll get details of what the president had to say.